Okay, we're going to work on the notes on the first string. Okay, so between every note, there's a sharp except for between B and C and E and F. Now, always remember that, okay? Again, remember that the distance of a fret is a half step, okay? So if we were to play all the notes, starting from the first string open, I'm gonna count them all going all the way up the guitar, okay? And then just remember between E and F and B and C, there's not a sharp, okay? So E to F, F sharp, right? G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and then E. Okay. So right at the 12th fret is where you get the octave. Right? It's an E, it's just higher. So if you look on ledger lines, it's on the third ledger line above the staff. That's your E. Okay, so those are the notes. Okay, best way to learn it is just learn the regular notes without the sharps first, right? E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then E. Okay, and then you have the accidentals between. Okay, again, E is open, F is the first fret, G is the third fret, A is the fifth fret. Now that's the first ledger line above the staff. Then you have B. Okay, that's a space above the first ledger line. That's a seventh fret. That's a B. C is the second ledger line above the staff. Okay, that's the eighth fret. Okay. Then you go to the third space above the staff. That's a D. And then you have the 3 lines above the ledger line, right on that third line is your E. Okay. So that's what we're working on, memorizing the first string higher notes, right? G, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Okay. You also want to practice shifting to those frets, okay? Okay. Let's take a look at the first practice scale, number 1. You have eighth notes, and it goes E, F, right? At the end of that measure, it goes back. You're going to start on that second measure. It goes D, and then you have to shift out of position, and then you go to C. So you go, okay? So practice doing that alone, that shift alone. Again, you want to follow these fingerings that are written in, okay? They feel awkward, but you got to get used to using those fingers, okay? And it'll help you doing the runs later, okay? When you get a piece that you have to play further up, okay? So you want to follow those fingerings, those specific fingerings. For example, the second measure there, it says to play the D with the 1 finger, and then you go to C with the pinky. It makes sense. And then you're going to follow with the 3 on the B, third finger, 1 on the A, 3 right here, third finger on the G, first finger on the F, and then the open string. So practice doing that. Right? And then coming back. Okay. Practice that and make sure you can get it. When you play it, you should be thinking visually on the guitar as well as on the staff. And then the fingerings, thinking of which fingerings you're using. right? And then descending. Right, now try it with the correct rhythm. Okay, so that's a practice scale number 1. Okay. Okay. A little tip when you're playing these notes that go up higher on the guitar. You probably you want to do what's called a guide finger. Okay, so when you're playing the note, for example, you play E, F, G, and then you go to F. I mean the next note, A. You don't want to lift your finger completely off the string, right? You hear that noise? You see how the fingers, or can you, I don't know if you can see it that well. Yeah, you probably can. The finger is, like, I'm not lifting my hands off completely off the string. You're using the string as a guide. So the finger, this finger, after I move this finger off, this other finger is still there, and it's lightly riding the string, right? You can hear it. I barely have my finger on it, and then I'm just using it as a guide to get to the next note, which is your A. Okay, so you have E, F, G, and then I do the same thing over here from the A, B, C. The fingers, like, it's on the string, and it hardly makes a noise because the string is nylon and the finger's just barely on it. Now, if the string was wound, like these strings are wound, you're going to hear a lot of string noise, okay? But to get through it, that's what I'd suggest you do. Okay, let's take a look at exercise number 1. Okay, you're going to have to shift out of position, okay? The right hand, you're alternating the fingers, okay? So try to alternate I and M, I, M. And all it's just a scale, but you're having to shift. Okay, so again, see that? And then after I play this C, I'm going to lift this finger off, and this finger's on the A, and it's barely on the string. I'm just going to use, right, just slide down the string, and then go to the next note, which is going to be D. And then I'm going to go back to first position, right? And then over here, okay, it's going to take some practice, but that's what you're wanting to do, okay? You're having to shift a lot. So if you look at the music there, on top of the music, it says position 1, and then it says first with a dotted line. What that means is that section is going to be in first position, right? And then halfway through measure 1, it says 5th. So that's when you're going to slide over to the 5th. You want to use those fingers, 1, 3, and 4. And then the next measure, you go to the 10th fret. Then you shift to the 7th. Okay, that's what those numbers on top of it mean. Okay, let's take a look at exercise 2. It's says Bach. The high F in the exercise is played on the 13th fret. Okay. So the high F, if you look at the music, measure 4, the third beat right there is where you have your F. Okay. If you notice, each note is followed by an open string, which is the open E, right? So really what you're playing is just A, B, C, A. Okay, that's what it is. Then you're just playing an open E in between each one. So this is a good exercise for learning the notes higher on the first string. Oops. Okay, now you can hear a lot of, it's pretty noisy. I don't think this exercise is meant to be that noisy. It's more to learn these positions that go up, right? Okay, so that's a fun little exercise. But yeah, so all it is you're just climbing up on the notes. So learn the notes first. You have A, you have E, but every other note is that open E. Okay. I would learn the notes between the E first, right? A, B, C, A, right? Then once you can get that, or know where they are, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret, back to 5th fret, then you can try, adding that open note, right? And then know where the shifts are. By shift, I mean is when your hand has to move out of a spot from one place to another. That's called a shift. So if you notice, the first measure is all in one position. Second measure, the hand has to move out of position, right? So that's a shift. Second measure is, right? B, C, D, B. Right? Third measure, you're going to go from C, D, E, back to C. That one's a little tricky because you have to stretch, right? So the third measure, C, D, E, C. Right? Then fourth measure, it goes higher to D, then to E, then to F, then back to D. Again, you want to follow those fingers, okay? The fingerings it's suggesting is 1, 3, 4, back to 1. Okay, once you can get that, then you add the open E. Right, then the next measure, E, then C. Oh. Sorry. E, that is a bit of a stretch. So a measure 5, E, all the way to C, D, then B. Okay, so you're having to jump from E, right? It's saying to use the third finger. Then you're going to jump all the way over here. So you're going from the 12th fret to the 8th fret to the 10th fret to the 7th fret. That's probably going to be the trickiest measure there, because your hand having to shift, and if your hand stretches aren't used to that far of a stretch, it feels like a really large shift to move, right? Next measure, C, A. Okay, so don't worry about speed here, just worry about accuracy. Okay, the speed will follow, but you just got to do it slow. That's exercise number 2, and then we'll go on to the next one.